Okay, so today we're talking about releasing versus rolling. These are really important distinctions, and we want to look at how they can benefit you. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about rolling and releasing. I have a basic foam roller. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Locally here we've got Fred Meyer's. I know they've got all of them. You can certainly order them online and get them sent to you. I also have one that I've made, and one of the things about this one, I love this one. It's a little smaller, so it's not as precarious, but this is just a noodle, a swim noodle with a dowel, like a stair dowel or a closet dowel you can use that happens to fit right inside there. So this is another one that I will use for rolling as well as releasing. And then I have a basic, this is a softer ball. You can use a tennis ball. You can use lacrosse balls. They're a little bit harder to use for releasing, and if you're really tender, it's going to be uncomfortable. So let's talk about what the tissue is doing when it needs to be rolled and released. Think of tissue like hair. So if you have your hair tangled, if there are knots and tangles in your hair, and you try to comb it out without taking your time, you know it's very painful. So if you go and try and exercise or move or do anything, your body has hair. The tissue is like hair. And it might have a bunch of knots in it, especially if you're stressed or tight or malnourished, or there's toxic stress, all kinds of things, because all of that tissue is like millions of fibers of hair, and they're easily knotted when you are dehydrated, when you are deficient in nutrients, especially minerals. And so this perpetuates things. It's again why we really focus here at Yogilachi on holism and really looking at a holistic approach. And we don't just say, oh, well, your elbow hurts, there's a problem with your elbow. We want to look at, well, let's see cause and effect, but also root source of it, so that we can then look at the overall function. And the tools of rollers, balls, even Swiss balls allow for you to roll out or take the hair fibers, take the tissue, the muscle fibers, even the smaller microfascia fibers, and coax them gently to smooth out. That is more important, I think, than to understand, so that when you do get on a roller, you're not just plowing away trying to break that tissue up and fight it and stop the pain. We want to coax it. We want to gently coax that hair, the knots, apart. I'll give you another example. If you've ever had a chain, like a necklace or a chain link that was bunched up in knots, if you try to get in there and pull it apart and tug at it, it makes it worse. But if you get in there and you gently massage, literally gently massage, it will coax it apart. So if you take nothing else away from today's rolling versus releasing, take that away. Take away this idea that you're really gently coaxing those knots and the tissue that's gotten knotted, which we'll call dysfunctional, right? We're coaxing it back into functional movement, functional capacity to do its job. And there are many tools to do that, and there's many methods to do that. The one that I'm going to show today is specifically, it can be done on any muscle, but we're going to look at, again, the rolling process. So if we think, what's the muscle that I'm going to focus on? I'm going to focus on IT band, because a lot of folks get really tight in the IT band. Of course, quads, hamstring, shoulder, everything can be rolled. But for this piece, I'm going to show from this side because I'm going to go from one insertion point of the bone to the next insertion point gently. And for some, if this is the first time doing this, this could be really excruciating, and I would prefer for it to be less than a 7 on this pain scale. So if it's an 8, 9, 10, I would think let's not do that. But this one right here, when you release the IT band, this can give you so much more benefit in motion of other pieces. So we could start with that and do long chain. It's easy to show it because I can show you the side and show you how I am just gently coaxing that apart and literally rolling, like I'm rolling out bread or rolling out something. And you could do this with all of your other tissue. Quadricep muscle, so we go right up to that insertion point, sorry Gigi, and then all the way down to that insertion point at the knee, and we can get to the other side and start rolling. And as you roll, again, I'm not in here digging. I'm like, whoa, I'm not trying to do that. That's not the purpose. And if you do start really getting in there and digging, sometimes that can cause more dysfunction than it releases. So listen to your body. Be really focused on getting back into communication with your body. So that could look like very gentle coaxing, right? Now, I'm going to show you with the ball what it looks like to release. And you could use the foam roller as well, but the reason I'm going to use the ball is because I can go to a spot. And when you go to a spot, to identify a spot, let's say, I'm going to do this on the back because I think a lot of times folks get back pain from sitting, especially a long time, and it can really come from really tight glutes. So super simple, literally, I'm rolling gently over, finding a spot, and I'm going to put the ball on that spot. Now, this is so simple. I'm just laying on the floor and finding a spot, and once you have that spot, that's maybe a 6, 7, 8. 8 might be too much at the first. So once you have a spot, then it's not about going and rolling and moving. It's about staying on it because we want to release it. So if you have found a spot that is something tolerable and you can still breathe and stay relaxed, stay on it because it is going to start a process of releasing going on. Don't move off the spot, so you've got the spot. What you want to do is move the joint around it. So for me, the hip is the closest joint. And I can put the foot, so if you could put your foot, let's say the ball's in the spot similar to mine, put your foot on the other knee. And that opens up now the piriformis, or another part of the glutes. And then you could shift that. And we haven't moved from the spot, so we're not rolling the tissue. We're staying on a spot, and we're putting pressure, like if you were squeezing out a sponge, we're just putting pressure, and then we're releasing. And then you're putting pressure, I haven't moved it yet. I'm putting pressure, and I'm moving the joint, but staying on the same spot, okay? So that's kind of that coaxing going on. So we can move it side open. Again, I'm finding the joint and moving the joint. I could even extend. I could go through all of this process and I haven't moved. Whoa, lots of little beautiful things that you can do on the same exact spot. Same exact spot. And I just put my foot on the roller, and you could do the same thing with your calf. So now I'm on a spot with the rod roller that I have, and I can put my calf right on that spot. And now I could just move, point and flex, so that you could start doing releasing by moving the joint nearest. and that helps create function and restore function back to the muscle. It's also very good for the brain. It's also very good for the neurological system, and it is very releasing and relieving. So I'm going to take it off now, and then I'm just going to take a moment, and I would love for you to practice this where you then assess. Our bodies are balanced. We have a right and left side, we have front, back. So always be assessing. I just did one side, and I can feel now with that right side, only one spot did I do. And I can feel like there's energy aliveness. My hip feels like it's settled more stable. I feel more calm. The other side feels really jacked up, like it's jacked high. Like my hips are off alignment, but the other one is relaxed. And that is what the brilliance is of releasing, that technique, versus rolling. What's better? What's your purpose? What are you wanting to do? They are effective tools to have in your toolbox. And as I say this, I'm going to remind us all, make sure you do both sides. So if you do one side, do the other. So you're always creating balance. Even if you have an injury on one side, and let's say you're wanting to repair that injury, I always encourage doing both sides, building, releasing balanced in a balanced way. I hope that helps. I get questions about the roller a lot, and sometimes there's fear around the roller. I just encourage you to play with it. I know when the first time you get on a roller, it could feel like you're like a whale and you're like all over this, and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. But when you play with it and you kind of just be with it, you'll have more fun, especially if you feel and you assess the relief that you get from it, and then having the tools around. Remember, your entire body, everything is tissue, all the way in the skull, right? So everything we do with the Qigong that we bring in, the Tai Chi, everything we bring in is about really understanding every little nook and cranny of your body, lips, mouth, everything has the potential to have knots in it. So we look at the body as this beautiful web that when you understand how it can work mechanically, you can really just, one, you can thrive, and two, you can understand and get some relief from the brain fearing pain or fearing something, because you realize, oh, that pain or that sensation is communication that something's not optimal. And do I have the right tool to help clear it? Because a lot of the tools that we are marketed and sold that make a lot of people money aren't the best for us. So if you can take that to heart and really understand, how can I take back control of my own health and really find true health and well-being from the inside out? What are the steps that I could take? At Yogilachi, we teach that it is optimal movement, mindset, and nutrition. They go hand in hand. And in the movement, a lot of tools and modalities are used. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I can tell you I probably have hundreds of tools, and the top 10 are the ones that I go to and really encourage anyone to learn. Anyone can learn them. So I hope that you will subscribe to the channel and ask questions, start a dialogue with us, let us know what's happening in your world. If you need something or have an interest in something or want to know more about something or want some support with something, please ask a question, comment, and we will happily answer it. We love doing that, and we love bringing some of this awareness to our community. Meantime, hydrating is the other piece. So what's the body need to drink? What's its favorite drink? Pure water, real water, pure water. If you don't have a local spring, local source near you, try to find the best filtration system that comes through to make sure your water is clean and healthy, because that's your best way to detox. It's your best way to stay healthy. Number one, and sleep are the other two. So check in on those, make sure that those are in. And in the meantime, if you get a chance, start rolling and releasing and see if that helps with the function of your muscles and tissues so that you can move better. All right, until next time, I'm Stefana with Yogilachi. I'll see you soon.